Hello and welcome to the transformation guide on the Transformers Kingdom Blaster. This is identical to the Legacy Blaster, so this will work for him as well. Mine just came in Kingdom packaging, so that's what I'm running off of. So to go ahead and get started, what we can do is we can remove his little accessory, which is just his blaster, this big huge gun here. You can straight up leave Eject in here. He doesn't do anything for the transformation. He stays in there. He's totally secure. But I can actually show you how to transform him first if you're curious. So to transform this little guy, you want to pull his little legs out, swing them out and down, and then just spin them to the front. Do that on both sides. And then just swing these little arms out, straighten them up, and spin them forward. Just like that. And then you got to get a fingernail or something back here to lift his head and spin it around. That's it. Very simple transformation on this little guy. Just be careful with the translucent plastic because mine actually has stress marks on its knees. Literally from assembling the figure, it showed up with these stress marks. So that's kind of a bummer, but just be careful with him. He should be fine. To transform him back into cassette mode, spin his little head around and tuck that into that little hole back there. You can then rotate his arms like this. And there's a little tab right here. It doesn't actually hook into anything. It just kind of sits in this little cavity here. Just like that. It really doesn't hook onto anything. It just kind of sits there. But then you can take his legs, spin them this way, lift them up, and spin them around. And that'll just clip in right there. And the way to tell what way is the right way, this side, see how it's just mostly flat? This side has like this little groove cut out. You want that groove cut out facing forward because it's going to go onto this little port right here. So just like that. And that's it for him. You can just open Blaster again, drop him into there. That's it. Now to transform Blaster himself, what I like to do is I like to just pop his wrists out all the way like this on both sides. Then I kind of spin his elbow about 90 degrees, and then you want to pop this whole section out like this. It tabs in with this little black tab, and it's very tight, so just kind of be careful with that. But swing that all the way up, and then spin that out. So again, spin this about 90 degrees, pop this up, fold it in, and spin it another 90 degrees. At this point, I like to rotate him all the way around at the waist and open this compartment here. It only opens that far, so getting his head down in there is easy. Getting it back out is kind of a pain, though. But you just rotate his head down, close that up. Now, at this point, I like to push these little things in and around, and as you can see, it literally just clicks like so. And then you can fold his toes up. Then on this side, you got to open these out and fold this up. Do that on both sides. And then this part's kind of a pain here. There's not a whole lot of clearance right here, so you just kind of got to work with this. Try not to break it. I don't think it will, but just be careful. So you want to rotate this section up and then spin right here, 90 degrees. And this big black tab right here will actually go into that slot inside of there. So you kind of just got to line those up in there. It's kind of hard to see. They just grab right there. And it'll actually hold fairly secure. It lines up nice on the front. On the back, it's very off, if you see what I mean there. So just make sure if it's lined up in the front, you got it right. What I like to do here is just kind of hold this whole thing just to kind of make sure that this doesn't come undone. And then you just rotate this up. What you're doing here is you're getting this whole chunk here into this gap. And it kind of has to flex around this corner here as well as over this front panel here. It kind of flexes in a weird way. So I don't really like doing that, but that's really the only way to do it. And then there is a tab up here that will go into that little slot right there. You kind of just wiggle that in, hook it in, and that's it. Now that you have the first one on there, this piece here is going to try to hold itself down, and it's just going to create more of a clearance issue there. So just spin his leg, bring this up, line that up with that slot in there. There we go. Hold this and spin this up. Wow, that went really smooth. If this hasn't popped down, just pop it down, and then there are 2 little tabs on his thighs here that'll just catch onto 2 little slots up in there. Sometimes you kind of gotta adjust it a little bit. That's fine though. And then you come back here and you lift these up and spin them over. And those literally just grab each other right there. And that is Blaster in his cassette player mode. You can also take his gun here. There's a tab right, or a slot right there and a tab right there that you can store his weapon just like that. Now to get back into robot mode, start by removing this. And then I like to separate these, spin them back, and there is a hole right here that will grab onto this post right here. So just like that. Clicks very securely. And then this part's kind of a pain dealing with this whole clearance in the front again. You can choose to like pull this all the way up. Honestly, I just like to kind of dislodge it at least. I don't like to snap it forward though, because I feel like that's gonna put some stress marks on these little hinge pieces here. But what I do is I kind of hold it by the front here and just kind of, what I'm actually doing is I'm pulling it like away. I'm not pulling it out. I'm actually pulling it down, but how it pops, it kind of pops out to the side. And then you just hinge that out. And if you haven't already, pull this section up, and that will allow you to unhook it right here and just pull his leg down. And do the same on this side, just like that. Hinge this down, just like that. You can fold that little flap down, and you can spin him at the waist, like so. From this point, what I like to do is fold these sections in, and make sure to pop these little speaker parts around, just because once you kind of close the legs up, they don't really always like to spin around. They kind of get caught on some stuff in there. So just make sure to spin those around before you close this like red lid part. But you can push that down and then close the red lid part, just like that. And then you can rotate his legs to be facing this way. You want the handle part facing out. And then how I get his feet is I pull his ankle rocker joint down and then pop his feet out. Seems to be easiest that way. Just like that. And then you can take his arms and hinge it down here and put the wrists up. And this black tab here, right there, will just catch on the inside of this red piece, like so. And then just spin his arm around. So just kind of do that all on this side as well. And then, since we don't want him headless, open this back section here. And there is kind of a lip right here that I kind of like to just grab with my fingernail and just pull it up. It's kind of a pain to get out of there, especially if you don't have fingernails, but you just do that and then close that up. And that is it. That is how you transform both the Kingdom Blaster as well as Kingdom Eject in there. I hope that guide helped you out at all. If it did, let me know with a like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good night.